the one thing about branding that is really critical, especially as a student, branding yourself as a designer, getting ready to introduce yourself to um, the hiring market in design, is consistency. And without consistency, there is no brand, and that's just the truth of it. You have got to be so dogmatically consistent with your brand, and for two reasons. Number one, it works in terms of branding consistency. It definitely works. Helps to get that message solidified with the viewer, and in a way that keeps it consistent and kind of organized. But also, it does another thing. It tells the viewer, for a student, this is why it's so important, because it tells the potential employer or the portfolio reviewer that you understand branding and that you understand the consistency and the importance of consistency behind branding. Why am I bringing this up? Well, I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up. Because there's some inconsistencies in your branding, and it's based on not the logo. We've already been through the logo. The logo is pretty good, though I do have a suggestion for that. But right now we're moving into this stage where you're starting to do some different things, trying to establish branding, but what you're doing is more diluting your branding than enhancing it. Let me explain. Take a look at this logo. You've got the white Angela with the kind of almost like a blue or white off-colored type with the logo and the orange background, okay? So you're saying that's my brand. Now you're going to the letterhead and it's completely changed. Now you're showing an orange logo with orange type and orange graphic design on a green background. So the hiring professional, when you're sitting in front of them, they're going to be looking at your branding and saying, okay, I'm not sure if this designer understands the importance of consistency in branding because there's some inconsistencies in the way that this designer is branding themselves. Okay, so it's an easy enough fix, and I think it's one that's going to definitely help because honestly, Angela, right now, I think you're overdoing it. You're overdoing it. This whole background thing, you're almost trying to jam the logo down your viewer's throat, and it's not working because the viewer is almost can tell that there's too much being thrown at them. For example, if we take a look at that logo next to the business card, there's just too many colors, too many shapes, and too much going on for any of it to be really memorable. Okay? So what can we do to remedy this? A couple of things. I said before I had a comment on the logo. Let's take a look at that logo. I do think that this composition right here, one second. This composition, right, this typographic composition right here is too large in relationship to the size of that mark. I would reconsider those. I would take that whole composition right there and I would reduce it in size. Not a lot, but enough that, as you can see, even as we back off, you can see even better that the Angela Twitchell is just too large in relationship to the mark. Okay, so then I would take that whole thing and I would move it down a little bit in the composition. I think you're too high in the composition. I would say something like that for your logo, okay? Now you've got a couple of things that are happening in this. You're using that horizontal rule twice, which that's fine because you're using it in your business card. And plus you get a horizontal line right there with your body copy anyway, or your contact information anyway. So that's okay, that's good repetition. But what I would do is this, I would strip that whole watermark, that whole color, I would strip it away from this letterhead completely. And I would just move that down, reduce the size of that in relation to that, and I would present this on a white background. I think right now I might pull this margin in a little bit. I think you're a little bit wide on that margin right there. Let's Command R this and take a guide, and I'd say right about there or so for placement. So your type starts right there, match that margin over here, and present this on white, and I think that you're really good. Now don't be put back because you're trying to say, okay, I wanted to do more, I want to design this. Remember, design and branding are two different things, okay? Branding, you want it to be the basic minimum because that will give you the best chance of your viewer remembering what they see. So by adding other things, you're reducing the probability that the viewer is going to remember what they see. That's why I recommend that just one color on the background. And I think that's going to work. I think it's going to be gorgeous. Let's take a look at the business card. I would say the same thing, Angela. The only thing about the layout for this is that you have that horizontal configuration down there, which you have right here. So that's good. But the one thing that's also pointing to inconsistency, again, I would go orange type and logo on a white background with orange type. And then there's a consistency in the way that this is presented in relationship to the letterhead, in that the letterhead is presenting this in the upper left, while the business card is presenting it centered. It's not a bad mistake, but I think we can do something very interesting in terms of negative space in the presentation here, while preserving the relationship of this upper left-hand corner. And that is to take this logo and just present it about that big right there, so that you're in the left quadrant of the business card. Then you can pull that margin in. Let me Command R that again. And there would be your margin. So that's where your type would start. Okay, and then you would duplicate that margin over there. So you have a left-centered logo, which would indeed be consistent with this left upper left logo. This one, you can either put it there or just center it and put it left. It still shares the fact that it's on the left-hand side of the composition, and that's going to create some harmony and some consistency between the business card and the letterhead, specifically when they're looked at together. Okay, so those would be my recommendations to improve your and solidify your branding and consistency in those two pieces. Let's take a look at the planter. Now, the planter, I think, is gorgeous. I love it. I can't wait to see this done. But see, again, you've got your orange logo. You got your orange logo, you got your orange logo, so let's stick with that. This is good that you can take your logo away and use it separately. I think that will come in handy when it comes time to use this in your final student portfolio. Okay, can't wait to see this guy mocked up with a plant in it. This looks fantastic so far. I love it. I think it's a really great idea, really, really good idea, specifically since you're showing a couple of things in this production file. You're showing that you understand that this is a die line. You're showing you understand not to place graphics or print, ink on the area that's going to be folded away and not visible anyways. And that's good. That's going to show the portfolio reviewer. That's going to show the potential employer that you understand that you don't apply glue to apply ink to an area that's going to be glued and folded away anyways. Which, I mean, that could potentially save a product several $100,000 during its lifespan. So that's good too. So I'd like you to show that production file along with your final finished piece, the mock-up, as it were. All right. Okay, good job. Hey, if you have any questions or comments, I hope my comments make sense. If they don't and I need to clarify, I'll be more than glad to. Just let me know. But if any questions at all, just get with me. All right. Thanks, Angela.